Hey y'all, this is a deposition for Ghislaine Maxwell, and I've been spelling her name wrong this entire time, so I finally corrected it, but I'm not going to correct it on all the videos. But anyway, um, this will be video 13, and this is the lawsuit between Virginia Giuffre against Ghislaine Maxwell because she claims that Ghislaine has been defaming her, so that's what this whole thing is about. But anyway, we're going to start right here on page 308. It says, I don't know why the name is. I'm sorry, I have no idea. I recognize the name, but that's it. Hold on. Why does it always do that? It's like it gets stuck. Okay. Hate this mouse. Sorry. Okay, let me see. So anyway, was redacted a masseuse, Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. What are you asking? I'm sorry. When Redacted worked for Jeffrey Epstein, did she perform massages? I've testified that when Redacted came originally, she came to answer telephones. I believe at some point she became a masseuse. I don't recollect when, and I personally had massages from Redacted. What did Redacted do for Jeffrey Epstein? Did she perform massages? Anything else? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. When she came, she answered phones, and at some point, I don't have any firm recollection, but I believe she went to school and became a masseuse, and I had massages from her. Did you ever have any sexual interaction with her? Mr. Pagliuca, objection or object to the form and foundation, and I'm going to instruct you if you're talking about any consensual adult contact, you're not allowed to answer the question. Did you have any sexual contact with her in the presence of Jeffrey Epstein? Mr. Pagliuca, same instruction. Question. Did you have any sexual contact with her in the presence of anybody other than Jeffrey Epstein? Mr. Pagliuca, same instruction. How many massages did you receive from Redacted? I really don't recall, but a fair amount. Did the massages involve sex? Mr. Pagliuca, I'm going to instruct you not to answer. Have you ever engaged in sex with any female? Mr. Pagliuca, I'm going to instruct you not to answer. Miss McCauley, I want the record to reflect that Mr. or Miss Maxwell's attorney is directing her not to answer this series of questions. Mr. Pagliuca, it definitely does. Were you responsible for introducing Redacted to Jeffrey Epstein? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. I already testified that I don't really recall Redacted. Were you responsible for introducing Redacted to Jeffrey Epstein? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. Again, I don't like the characterization of introduction. Redacted came to answer telephones. When did you or were you the person who brought or introduced or met Redacted for purposes of bringing her to Jeffrey Epstein's home? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. That's not how I would characterize that. Would you characterize it? Or how would you characterize it? Excuse me. I've testified that I'm responsible for finding professional people to work in the homes, age appropriate adult people, so from pool attendants to gardeners to chefs to housekeepers to butlers to chauffeurs. And one of the functions was to be able to answer the telephones. And in the context of finding someone to answer the telephones, I did look to try to find appropriate people to answer the phones. So did you find Johanna for purposes of that role? So in the course of looking for somebody to answer phones at the house, Johanna was one of the people who said that she was willing to answer phones. Did you approach her at her school campus? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. I honestly don't recall how in that moment how I met Redacted and how she came to get the job, but did you typically, in your work for Jeffrey Epstein, would you typically go to school campuses to try to find individuals to work for Jeffrey Epstein? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. I never, what do you mean by school? Let's characterize school. Any kind of school. Obviously not. I never went to any school with young people. Redacted, I believe, came from an adult university, as I would know in England. So, university, I went there, but I never went, as I best recollect, anywhere else. What university was it that you went to? I don't recall the university that she went to right now. Would you visit more than one university to try to find individuals to work for Jeffrey Epstein? As I recollect, I think that's, in fact, the only university I went to. Did you go there more than once? I think I went twice. Who else did you find from that university? Was there anybody other than redacted? And I think it's a girl named Haley Robeson because she was on a Netflix documentary and she talked about that, but she was in like college, so I'm thinking it's her. But either way, okay. So I don't recollect. I'm sorry. We're gonna mark this as Maxwell 13. Maxwell Exhibit 13 documents marked for identification. Can you take a look at the document and I put in front of you, please? Are you familiar with this document? I'm familiar with this actual document. How is this document created? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form and foundation. I don't know how this document was created. You were involved in the creation of this document. I think you can see from the date that it's 2004, 2005, so on. You weren't involved in creation of this document. Did you? We talked about earlier about Mr. Epstein's house. I'm talking about the Palm Beach house where you said there was a computer on the desk that employees had access to, people who worked for Jeffrey Epstein may have had access to. I think anybody could have had access to that. Was that computer used? If you know, to keep a log of addresses and phone contact information for Jeffrey Epstein. Are you talking about when this document was created? In general, was there on that computer during the time that you were present with Jeffrey Epstein, was there a mechanism by which you kept electronic information of names and addresses of individuals that he knew? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form and foundation. I can't testify what was on that computer or not after I was gone. Not when you were gone, when you were there. If Jeffrey wanted to call, for example, say redacted, would somebody or would someone be able to go to that computer to pull up the address information and phone contact information for that individual? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form and foundation. I couldn't possibly say. Did you ever have to keep track of address or phone contact information for Jeffrey Epstein? That was not my job. Did you ever do it? I'm not responsible for keeping his numbers, so that wasn't my job at all. But did you ever do it? I know it's not your job, but did you ever do it? Did you ever keep phone contact information for him? During the course of the time we were together, if he gave me a telephone number, I would give it to an assistant to put in the computer. I could do that. Would he ask you for contact information for different individuals if he wanted to contact someone? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form and foundation. Okay. In the course of the long period of time when I was there, it certainly would be possible for him to ask me for a telephone number. And if I had I wouldn't always have it. I'm sure it happened. Was there a hard copy book in addition to the computer? A hard copy book that you could look for numbers that were relevant to Jeffrey Epstein's life and something on the computer, or was it just an electronic version? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form and foundation. I don't know why he keeps objecting for every single thing. I don't really understand the whole objection in this deposition. It's like you're interrupting the whole damn thing. She's still answering the question, so I'm not really sure how that works. Okay, was there a hard copy book as well as something on the computer, or was there only electronic information on the phone numbers? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form and foundation. I can only testify to what I know, obviously, and I believe that this is a copy of a stolen document. I would love to know how you guys got it. I'm asking, during the time you worked for Jeffrey Epstein, was there a hard copy document of any kind that kept phone numbers for Jeffrey Epstein if we need to contact someone, if he needed to contact someone? The stolen document I have in front of me that you have is what you are referring to. So there was, during your time when you were there was no other, you mentioned there was information on a computer. Was there any hard copy document that you could refer to find someone's number? Yeah, the stolen document in front of you. You had access to this when you worked for Jeffrey Epstein. This is, I believe, the book that was stolen. That was the hard copy of whatever was there. So when you were working for Jeffrey Epstein, you were able to access this book. This book, if this is what this is, I believe it was, this is the stolen document from his house. You were able to access it when you worked for him. It was a document that was printed that you could, if you needed to, look for a number. Do you know how this book was created? No. When you referenced to it a moment ago to a stolen document, when redacted, turned this document over to the FBI, are you aware he described it as a document that came from your computer? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the formal foundation. I have no idea what he said or didn't say. So if you want me to reference something he said, you need to show it to me. Did you keep this document, an electronic copy of it, on your personal computer? I don't recollect. If you had to update something, for example, if there was a new number, a new individual that Jeffrey had hired that you're going to track, would you input that information into this document on your computer? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. Holy moly. I've already testified that I'm not responsible for updating and keeping these documents or keeping these records. Did you have this document on your computer, your personal computer? I told you I don't recollect having this document on my computer. Do you know what computers this document was on, if more than one? I'm sorry, this is a long time ago, and I don't recall exactly how this was all managed. If you didn't create this document, do you know who did? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. I don't. I'm going to direct your attention to part of this document. It's toward the back. It's going to be page 91, and it has Bates labeled Giuffre 001663. I'm going to direct your attention to the section that says Massage Florida. Did you input any of the names or numbers under this section? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. So this document is produced in 2004, 2005, so no. But I'm sorry, correct me if I'm misunderstanding your testimony. I thought you said when you were working with Jeffrey that this document existed and it was something you utilized. I can't possibly tell you what numbers were added or not added subsequent to my departure. So you don't recall if you added any of these numbers? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation, mischaracterizes the witness's testimony. Are there any numbers on here or names that you recognize that you would have entered into this section? I already testified that I'm not responsible for inputting numbers and names into this, so I would not be able to tell you. Are there any names or numbers under this section, Massage Florida, that you would have provided to an assistant, to input into this document? I can't possibly say. Do you see under Massage Florida, about halfway down the first column, do you see a number that says redacted cell? Mr. Pagliuca, what page? It's 91, Bates number 001663. About halfway down, it says in the first column, it says redacted cell. You see that? I do. Would you have provided, hold on, would you have provided after, I know you didn't hire her, Jeffrey hired her, but after you brought her to Jeffrey, would you have given her cell phone number to an assistant to input into this document? Mr. Pagliuca's objection to the form of foundation. I didn't bring her to Jeffrey the way you characterize, and I would have no knowledge of how this number ended up in this book. I believe you, and I will try to use your words so we're clear. You met redacted, is that correct? Yes. And then she began working for Jeffrey. Yes. Would you have provided whomever was in charge of keeping this updated with redacted cell number so you would be able to contact her if needed? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. I don't know. It could have been a number of different ways. It could have been Jeffrey who gave it to somebody. You just don't remember doing that. I do not. Now, as you look, I want you to take a look at the Florida massage list. It's 3 columns there. Do you, as you look at those names on the various columns, do you know the ages of any of the girls in this list? I don't know. One, I don't know who all the people are on this list, and I certainly don't know the ages. Do you know what their qualifications are? I don't know who the people are in general, so of course I don't know what their qualifications are. Do you know why Jeffrey has so many masseuses listed in Florida in his book here? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. Again, this book was created post my departure, so I couldn't explain why all these people are here. When you were there, you said this book existed? Yes. So when you were there, were there a number of masseuses listed under the Florida massage? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation and mischaracterization of the witness's testimony. I'm asking you a question. When you were there a number of masseuses listed under the Florida massage section? When I was there, I would have, of course, there would have been some masseuses listed, but I could not tell you who or how many, and this I could not possibly because I wouldn't remember. Do you know why Jeffrey would have had so many names listed under his massage Florida? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. I can't testify to why Jeffrey had so many. Did he use a different masseuse every day? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. You can answer. When I was there, he had a massage roughly every day, one masseuse, and mostly he would have them at random times. So it would be difficult if you just only had one person, man, woman, for an adult massage to come and be available for whatever time it was. So he would have more than one person that he could call for a massage because at any given time, the one that he called first may not have been available. So would it typically be a different person each day that would give him a massage? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. It would be when I was there based on availability. Would it surprise you to learn that the federal government found that some of the girls on this list under Massage Florida were under the age of 18? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. I can't testify to what the government found or did not find because I have no knowledge of it. I'm asking if you would be surprised by that. Mr. Pagliuca, form and foundation. I have knowledge of that. I can't speculate. On the second column towards the bottom, there is the name. It's one up from the bottom. There is the name redacted. Do you know redacted? I do. Who is she? She was a friend of Jeffrey's. Is she a masseuse? I don't think she was a masseuse, no. Why would be she listed under Florida massages? An input error. Is this list any what? Is this list any individual that would have sex with Jeffrey? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. I wouldn't have any knowledge of that. Do you know if Jeffrey had sex with redacted? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form and foundation. First of all, I wouldn't have any knowledge of that. Ms. McCauley, we're going to take a break. The videographer is now 4:39. We're off the record. Recess. The videographer is now 4:54. And we're back as we are back on the record starting disc number 8. Miss Maxwell, we were talking earlier about the journal and believe you said in 2005 you were no longer working. You're responsible for that journal. Is that correct? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. What are we referring to? This document right here? Yes. I don't know who is the author of this, or I can't tell you what is in here versus what would have been here when I was around. I can't testify to that. Were you around in 2004 or 2005? I already testified that I was there when Jeffrey's mother passed away. So you know, I did visit for her passing, and I believe I was there for a couple of days in 2005. So if an employee of Mr. Epstein in 2004 said that you were the employee's direct supervisor, would that be correct? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. What employee? What's the circumstances? What's the story? I don't know what you're asking me. If redacted said in 2004, when he was hired, you were his direct supervisor, would that be true? No. Were you in 2004 supervising redacted? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. I never supervised redacted. Did redacted take orders from you? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the former foundation. She worked for Jeffrey. If rejected, I'm sorry, if redacted said you had knowledge of underage girls coming to Jeffrey's home for the purposes of sex, would you contend that that is truthful? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form and foundation of the question. I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm sorry. If redacted said that you have knowledge of underage girls coming to Jeffrey's home for the purpose of having massages involving sex, would you say that that statement is truthful? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. I can't testify to what redacted said or didn't say. I'm saying if redacted said that you had knowledge that there were girls coming over to the house that were underage for the purposes of sex, would that statement be true? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. I can't testify to what redacted said or didn't say or what he thought. Did you have knowledge of underage girls coming to Jeffrey Epstein's house for the purpose of sex? No. Earlier, I believe you testified, correct me if I'm wrong, that the document that is in front of you, the thicker document, was a stolen document. Do you know who stole that document? I've read that Redacted stole the document. And where have you read that? I believe it was reported in the press. Earlier, we were talking about the computers at Jeffrey Epstein's home. Did you have a computer that was your computer located in Jeffrey Epstein's home? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. I've testified to the computer already. Even if I was around, there was a computer that people had access to. So is Redacted telling the truth when he says that he downloaded the book from your computer? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. I couldn't possibly tell you what Redacted did or didn't do, or said or didn't say. Was it on your computer? I already testified. I have no idea where this document came from. Did you have a list of names of individuals with contact information for Jeffrey Epstein in your personal computer? Again, that wasn't my computer. I already said that that was a computer that lots of people would have. So I have no recollection of this document being on it. So I don't know where this came from. I understand the computer at the house that you're referencing on a personal computer of yours. Did you have that document? I don't know where this document came from, so I can't possibly say this document was on my computer that I may have had access to. On a personal computer of your own, did you have lists of the phone numbers and contact information relating to Jeffrey Epstein? Like everybody, I have an address book, but I can't possibly testify where this thing came from. Was it your address book or was it addresses that related to Jeffrey Epstein? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. I don't know what you're asking me. On your personal computer, the address book you're referencing, was it your address book with individuals you knew, or was it an address book for your employer, Jeffrey Epstein? Jeffrey has his situation, and I have no. This is Jeffrey's. It came from his home, so I can't testify to anything about this in that period of time. So you didn't have on your computer a list of contact information for individuals that was related to Jeffrey Epstein. I don't recall exactly what I had back in 2005 and 2000 or 2004 and 2005. So I can't say what I had back there then that relates to his addresses. I can't recall. So is it possible that someone could have downloaded from your personal computer a list of names and addresses that were affiliated with Jeffrey Epstein? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. This didn't come from any computer of mine, but it is possible that someone could have downloaded a list of names and addresses affiliated with Jeffrey Epstein from your computer. Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. I already said I didn't have a computer there, so I don't know where this came from. I have no idea. I'm going to read to you some testimony from redacted deposition, and it's on page 370, and I want to ask you a question about it, if it's true or false. Mr. Pagliuca, I'm going to object unless you show the witness the document. Miss McCauley, I will pass it. We're not going to mark it. We will skip it. Did you ever tell Redacted that he better watch out and better keep his mouth shut with respect to what occurred at Mr. Epstein's home? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. It doesn't sound like anything I would say. Did you ever threaten Redacted in any way if he were to disclose information he learned from his employment with Mr. or Jeffrey Epstein. Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. I'm happy to answer no. I never threatened him in any way. Were you concerned that he was going to disclose that Jeffrey Epstein was trafficking underage girls? I think this is that Juan Alessi. I've gone through a video on him. I think he was one of the house people, like that actually took care of his home, and I think him and his wife worked for them. Anyway, I think that's what this is. Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. First of all, there are so many things wrong with that question, but I have no knowledge of what you're talking about. Have you ever contacted or instructed anyone to contact any witness in this case for the purposes of threatening them not to testify in this case? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. I've never called anybody with reference to this case with anything you just mentioned. I never threatened anyone. Have you ever directed anyone to call any witnesses relevant to this case and threaten them not to testify? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. I never done such a thing. Did Jeffrey Epstein or you ever ask any female, regardless of age, to carry Jeffrey's baby for him? What the flippin' hell? Ew, I think I heard about something that he wanted to become, ew, like have a bunch of different women. Ew. Okay. Sorry. Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation or anything along those lines. Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. Can you repeat the question, please? Did you or Jeffrey Epstein ever ask any female, regardless of age, to carry Jeffrey Epstein's baby for him? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. Are you asking to become pregnant? Did you or Jeffrey Epstein ever ask any female to become pregnant and carry Jeffrey Epstein's baby for you or for Jeffrey? Can Jelaine not have children? I mean, I'm just curious. Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. You need to be very specific. I have no idea what you're talking about. That's completely rubbish. Oh, gross. Did you or Jeffrey Epstein ask any female to become pregnant and carry his baby for either him or you? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. Go ahead. I can't testify to anything Jeffrey did or didn't do when I was not present or when I'm not present, but I've never asked anybody to carry a baby for me or anything along those lines. Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. I want to make sure we're talking about the same thing. Not physically carry a baby, I mean become pregnant with a baby. Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. I want to make sure we're clear. I don't know what you're asking me. That's why I want to make sure we're clear. We are clear. I never asked anybody to carry a baby for me. Do you know if Jeffrey ever asked anybody to carry a baby for him? I'm not going to characterize any conversation Jeffrey had with somebody else. You're not aware of that? Is that your testimony? I'm testifying. I never have, and I will not testify for anything for Jeffrey. Did you ever hear Jeffrey ask anybody to carry a baby for him? I don't recollect conversation about Jeffrey and babies in any form. Did Jeffrey ever tell you he wanted to have a baby? I don't recollect baby conversations with Jeffrey. So he never told you he wanted to have a baby? I don't recollect any baby conversations with him saying he wanted to have a baby. Did you ever bring any females to the redacted house that were not your friends' children that were under the age of 18? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. I've never, to my knowledge, brought anybody under the age of 18 that's not a friend of my family or my nieces or nephews to the redacted house. Earlier today, you testified, I believe, that with respect to your townhome, Jeffrey paid for some of that and then gave you a loan. Is that correct? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form of foundation. I said, actually, I think it was a loan. I believe it was a loan. The whole thing, as best as I can recollect. Okay, I'm going to stop here. That's just gross. I'm gonna look some stuff up about Ghislaine personal stuff. I just want to see because I've heard that about that they wanted to have a bunch of kids but it would have been at the New Mexico like ranch thing. I'm gonna look into that. Anyway, that's yucky. But I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.